Keep running! We have to find a place to hide!
But what if he finds us?
Don't worry, I've prepared for that. There, behind those crates!
But boss, how are we?
There, we should be safe here for a while until I can come up with a plan.
Boss, what was that? And how do you know so much about this world?
Well, to answer your first question, the orb I was carrying was a low protection spell. It will keep us safe and out of that thing's eyes for a little while. As for your second question, it's because I've been here. I'm your host, the C. That knows a lot, Dr. Waluigi. We continue our look into the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise with the movie that has been considered what brought Freddy's groove back, and brought in one of the most popular aspects of the franchise. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. The movie came out in 1987 with the return of Wes Craven, who, after the critical disappointment of the previous movie, helped write the screenplay and story for this movie with the intention of ending the series. However, this movie would go through multiple script rewrites as some of the ideas for this movie came from previous actors, including John Saxon, who played Nancy Thompson's father in the first movie, and even Freddy himself, Robert Englund. After several rewrites, the script was finally made and the film was released to massive praise from critics and was a financial success, making $45 million at the box office against a budget of $5 million. The movie centers around several children who are currently at a mental institution because they're all having the same dream of Freddy. It turns out that they are the last children whose parents burned Freddy alive and are slowly being picked off one by one. Can they be saved by those who work at the institution, or will they become the next victims of Freddy Krueger? Cast returned from the first movie, including Heather Langenkamp and John Saxon. This movie was also the debut of Patricia Arquette, who is best known for such films as True Romance, Ed Wood, and Toy Story 4. The other cast members do a great job as well, and it feels so great to have a cast that you can relate to and care about because they feel ostracized by the adults, either because their parents don't care about them or the doctors can't explain what is happening to them. Unlike the last movie where only two of the characters are likable and memorable because of the events that this movie has some of the best special effects. I really like how well the dream sequences look and how well the characters' dream powers are utilized. While I do also like the first movie's dream sequences as well, I feel that this movie was able to take great lengths to expand upon the idea of dreams and what you can do in them. The writing in this movie is also pretty good too, with how they make the kid characters likable and vulnerable, while the adult characters are also just as concerned about the kids' safety, even though they're entirely useless. I do agree this movie has a lot to like, but it is missing one important thing that should be in your slasher movie. It being scary. Yeah, kind of weird to have a horror film where the scares are very few and far in the film. In fact, the more I watched this film, the more I was realizing that this movie was slowly turning into a comic book movie. Think about it, we have a group of young teens that discover they've got a connection to this evil being and get superpowers when they enter the dream world. I know Wes Craven did make the Swamp Thing movie, but did he just want to make another comic book movie and just put Freddy in it? Which is disappointing when you go to see a slasher film and instead you get a much more bloody comic book movie. On top of that, the one thing I feel should have been left out of the film is Freddy's continuing addition to his backstory. One thing that I liked about Freddy is how we never really knew that much about him. Sure, we knew he was a child murderer and that he was killed by the parents of Springwood, But that was all we needed to know about him. We didn't need to know anything else about him because it wasn't important in this movie's storyline. However, we get more of his backstory by learning that he was born after his mother got raped by 100 crazy men, and that this is what made him evil. Okay, why do we need to know this? Does it add anything to the story? Does it add anything to Kruger's character? Nope, it's just so that we can have him be killed by burying him in hollowed ground. Thanks, movie! While I will fully agree with the fans that this was a better sequel than 2, I still feel like this sequel took too many liberties just so that Wes could end the series, only to continue with 4 more titles. If I had to go back and redo this movie, I would change the tone of the movie and remove the backstory so that Freddy would remain a scary apparition of the dream world. I give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's still worth checking out if you're an Elm Street fan. Just be warned that there are some bad and weaker elements that will show as the series progresses. Thanks for watching, I'm Dr. Waluigi, and remember, don't judge a book by its cover, because you'll never know what's inside. Good night, everyone.
What do you mean you've been here before?
Several years ago, I was part of another group of reviewers who were sent out to investigate a mysterious energy reading in the movie sector. The readings we got from that mission are the same as the readings we scan today.
What does all that mean, boss?
I don't know, but what I do know is that we need to find our crew and get the hell out of here and present our findings to the. Oh god, he found us! Quick, Barnon, run!